Hey everyone, it's Jody Teish, and you may not guess that it is almost Christmas from the look of things and the sleeveless top I'm wearing, but we have, and while the ground is totally covered with leaves here, the weather today happens to be beautiful. So I took this opportunity to come outside and share something with you, me and the animals. So have a look at Suki and Annie and Sophie about anxiety. I posted the other day about anxiety around the holidays, and there are some signs that may not be obvious to many pet parents or some pet parents that you should know about, so that you can get a jump on and get ahead of the game when it comes to tackling anxiety in your animal, because the longer it goes on, the more anxious and ingrained that anxiety becomes as a way of life, and it's painful for our animals. We may not know. So let's talk about the signs that some may be obvious and some may not be, that your dog or cat is anxious. So you have barking and howling. Now, my Sophie was howling when I would go out. I could go out for 10 minutes and she would be howling. And I knew that that was a sign of anxiety, and so we are working on that, and we are still working on that. She's gotten better, but we're not there yet. But barking or howling when you go out is a sign of anxiety. Panting, pacing, even when it's not hot outside, that is a sign of anxiety. Shivering. Lifting of one paw. Sometimes they'll lift a paw up, and Sophie, it's another sign that Sophie had. She would do this regularly. And I learned that it was a sign of anxiety. So again, we are working on that. Maybe it's a sign in your animal too. Digging, incessant digging. I'm not talking about, digging like normal dogs. They go in the yard and they want to dig, but OCD digging. Running away or cowering in the corner of a house when somebody approaches. That is an obvious sign that an animal is anxious and needs help. Escaping the yard. If you have an escape artist, that is a sign of anxiety, and there's something that is triggering your dog being left in the yard that is causing that reaction. So that's something to look into. Destroying furniture. That's a fun one. You go out and you come home and you are minus the cushions of your couch. That is very painful for pet parents. And expensive. So that is absolutely a sign of anxiety and something to look into. Self-harm. That is a tough one. When you have an animal that is incessantly licking, biting, scratching, that is a sign of anxiety. The first thing I would check is to make sure they don't have fleas or ticks, especially fleas. But if fleas are ruled out, that could very well be a sign of anxiety. Not eating, losing appetite, that's cause of concern. It could be a sign of anxiety. It could be a sign of a deeper issue. That is something to always check out, and remember to look at your pet's beam. Behavior, energy, appetite, and mood. If the beam is normal for your animal, you don't need to run to the vet. See how your animal does over the next day or two. But if he or she doesn't start eating again, then I would go to the vet and have it checked out. Urinating more frequently. Did you know that was a sign of anxiety? I did not. I learned that. And that is something that many pet parents may not know. That general inability to settle down, to go from the sympathetic nervous system state of high, alert, to the parasympathetic nervous system state of rest and relaxation. If your animal is unable to do that, then that is definitely a sign of anxiety. Now, there are other signs that are even more subtle than some of these that you may not know about, but need to. One is lip licking. My dog Jasper used to lick his lips a lot. And I knew he was anxious, and that's one of the reasons why we decided to send him, when my husband and I split up, to send him to live with Stanley in the UK, in the English countryside. And he's no longer lip licking, and he's no longer reactive, and he's living the life of Riley, running through the fields and the woods, off leash, no cars around, and just living his best life. Yes, I miss him, but it's best for him. So that's something that I knew was a sign of anxiety. Jasper had it. Maybe your dog has it. Showing the whites of their eyes. That's also a more subtle sign of anxiety, something you might want to look for. I mentioned lifting a paw up. Sophie was doing that. She still does it sometimes. So that is a sign too. And when they look away, they can't really look at you. That's a sign of anxiety too, and it kind of breaks my heart because we love them so much, and we want them to be able to look into our eyes lovingly. And if your animal from past experience, another life, with another owner, or just a very rough beginning, can't look at you, look you in the eye, turns away, that is a sign of anxiety. Now, there are many things that you can do. I talked about a couple of them in my last video. One is to talk softly and calmly to your animal. Another is a very gentle, calming touch. Instead of getting them all riled up with your, excited to see them, roughing them up, it's a gentle touch for an anxious animal. And maybe running your hand in circles on the sides of their body, that's calming to them as well. And some CBDs. I like Elevet. There's other really good CBD products on the market, and homeopathy, aconite, for a fight or flight, place that your pet could be in. For that type of high anxiety moment, aconite is a really great homeopathic remedy to go to. So there are a few that I've mentioned. I will be bringing more to the table as we go, and as I'm learning more about this issue that I found is really, really prevalent among pet parents and challenging for them. There are some pet parents who can't go out because they go out and the damage that their animal does to themselves or their house is just extreme. So my heart goes out to you, and I want to help, and I'm going to be bringing solutions. So stay tuned to my YouTube channel, and you'll be hearing more. To their best health ever, this is Jody Teich.